all well. If you are new around here, then hello, it's lovely to meet you, and if you are returning, then thank you very fucking much for coming back. My name is Alana, I'm a 36-year-old lady living in Scotland. I am a new mum, but that's not what the channel's about. On this channel, we predominantly talk all things beauty, skincare, hair care, lifestyle, travel-y, vloggery, bloggery bullshit, but with a liberal sprinkling of sarcasm and cynicism thrown in on top. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, there is a subscription button in the corner. Make sure to give it a little hit and give it a little thumbs up too. Really helps the video and all that kind of YouTuber crap. Anyway, this video is going to be a continuing roll from last week, trying all of my cream or liquid blushers. So over the next 7 days you will see, and actually this week we were really sick, so I've had to kind of put a couple of blushes into one day and things like that. You will see me talking about it. So we're going to go over 7 more blushes. I really hope you're enjoying these. I'm actually really enjoying digging into things that I kind of forgot about again. It's always good to revisit things and remember why you bought them in the first place or why you haven't used them in a while. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, then just keep on watching. Hi, so today I'm trying out the DERMATICA, not trying out, I've had it for ages, the DERMATICA Vision Flush in Sweet Nectar. Now, you can see on the back of my hand there, like they do blend out, but these are super duper pigmented. It's actually what I've got on my lips as well. I've topped it with a little bit of gloss too, but they are very, very pigmented. And this one in particular is like, it is straight up bright orange. Like, there is no two bones about it. There is a tiny hint of coral, I want to say, but it's much more of an almost neon effect. Don't know if you see it there, orange. So definitely go with care. I mean, you could, I kind of sometimes I'll do it on my finger and then like do blot on my lips, but for the cheeks I always like to put it over 2 areas of my hand before actually putting it on my cheeks. What I do love about these is they are so easy to blend. Like, so they sound like they're very scary because they're pigmented, but then when you put them on the face, they just move about brilliantly. They don't start to like catch, they don't start to get patchy or anything like that. I do obviously have a very bright orange eye on today, so that's why I kind of wanted to tie the two together. I am also starting to realise that so far, I think the majority of blushes that I've tried have been orange, but it's actually because I have been doing kind of 3 looks, 1 palette, 4 looks, 1 palette type thing with this palette from Huda Beauty for a reel. So if every blush you've been seeing so far, you're kind of like, you just own orange blushes. I do own a lot of orange blushes, that's because I fucking love them, but at the moment I'm kind of tying them in with looks from using that palette, so that's why I've been using quite a lot of them. But I do think these are an absolutely beautiful product, and I kind of mentioned recently on a video, I feel like nobody talks about them anymore. I've got one in Black Cherry, which is a beautiful plum colour, one in Ballet Slippers I want to say it is, which is the one I think isn't the right name for the shade. It's not pink, it's much more of a tan brown colour I would say. And then I've got Toasted Almond, which is a straight up brown, but sometimes what I'll use that for in the summer is a little bit of bronzer and contour. I don't generally use that one as a blush ever, but I might do for this series just to see how it goes. Again, I would love to show you what it's like in natural daylight. I do have a light on today, but unfortunately it is currently 4:30 in the evening here. It's pretty much pitch black. I'm going to turn the light out anyway, but as you can see, it is pretty much pitch black in here at the moment. I've got a lamp on over there by my bedside, but otherwise this is the colour. I'm sitting by a window and the only light that's coming in is pretty much from the lamp over there, so my apologies. So anyway, that's today. We will move on tomorrow. Maybe I will try a different colour because I've stopped using that palette now. I'm going to be doing other colours and things like that, so you'll see some more colours coming through shortly, I promise. I'm really sorry, there just seem to be loads of orange going on, and we'll keep rolling with this till I've used every single one. Hi, so it is Tuesday today and the blush I'm wearing today is the Rare Beauty, the Melting Blushes I want to say this one is, and this is the shade Nearly Rose. Now, I have to say, when I was putting that on there, I was like, okay, I remember the first couple of times I tried this, I was like, this isn't really for me. I would always recommend the liquid blush from Rare Beauty over these ones. And I was kind of trying to remember why I felt that way, because it's been a while since I've used this. So the first thing is, I'm going to say, even though this looks super duper bright in the pan and probably looks quite effective on my cheeks as a nice kind of pop of pink, these are not super duper pigmented. The swatch on my back of my hand looks amazing there, but as you start to blend it, you can see it really goes away to not very much. So I feel like you have to be a little heavy-handed with these, which again, if you're someone who likes to build up colour rather than have that instant colour, because sometimes that can be a little overwhelming for people when you're putting on the colour in your face and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, how did I knock that back a bit? It's too Coco the Clown now. I fucking love being Coco the Clown, so you know how it is. But if you like to build up colour, then again, maybe you will prefer this one over the liquid one. But what I will also say is that I remembered about these is the texture of them. So it feels super duper like creamy when you're doing that. And I would say this definitely goes into a matte blush. There is zero sheen from this. If you're seeing any sheen, then it's probably just my skincare. I don't even have any base on today. I do have a little concealer around about my nose and my eyes, which is Glossier Stretch, so that might be showing the kind of sheen here as well. But I do not have any base on. I don't have any tinted moisturiser, any foundation or anything like that. So I think the sheen is just purely whatever skincare I used beforehand. I'm just checking in the mirror there. It's certainly a glow from underneath the blush. The blush on top looks a little matte. And what I was thinking was as well, I remember speaking to my friend Stephanie about these, and it's just, they're just a little more faff than they need to be. That's the honest truth. I feel like the liquid one, you know, put it in the back of your hand, dot in a brush, off you go. It blends seamlessly. Whereas this one, because I've no base on today, you can't really see it. But if I remember rightly using it on top of a base, it almost lifted up what I had on underneath as well. I just found them a little bit fiddly to work with, which for a cream blush shouldn't really be an issue. Like, you should be able to just put a cream blush on and be on your way. When they start lifting things underneath them, that's always like a problem for me. And like I said, I've just applied more there to my hand, and then, you know, like, it takes a good bit to start building up colour. So I've been really precise where I've wanted to put that and got a good effect on my face today. I have to say the colour I think is very, very pretty. I've got this kind of soft wash of pink on my eye today, which actually, I'm going to just tell you what it is, because this is the first time of me using it today. It is the Oma Black Magic colour palette, and this one is called Royal Heritage. So this one is like the super duper pinky one that I was like, don't know if that's really my colour story. And I have to agree, I still don't really think this is my colour story, but I used it today and the shadows were absolutely lovely. So I've put a little wash of pink on the eye, and I thought, like, let's do a little bit of a kind of preparation for Valentine's idea, and just a nice subtle wash of colour. So I do think that the colour of the blush is really nice, but if you were to ask me, like, what are the best cream blushes to get, I probably wouldn't put this one up there, and I probably would be like, the Rare Beauty liquid ones are fantastic. These ones I'm not so hyped up about. So long story short, they look very cute. They're like a little Polly Pocket or something like that, but I just prefer the liquid ones, even if they do give like a nice colour in the face and it looks fine looking at it. And just a little bit like, it's too much hassle for me. Let me just show you in natural light, because I do have my lights on again. It is currently 2 PM in Scotland, and it is very, very overcast, and unfortunately little Jack has got a little bit of a bug. He's had a little sickness and diarrhea today, so that's why I was coming on a little later than normal, because his first nap, which is usually the time I get myself ready and kind of come on and do a little filming, he was actually really upset, and I was like, okay, let's just have cuddles today, let's just do that, we'll just chill on the couch today. Had lunch on the couch and everything, but he's just went down for a little nap there, and I thought I would jump on and just show you this. And there we go, that is it in natural light there, again because of the way my window sits, I'm sorry. That is it in natural light. So it is a really pretty colour. It's a very, very beautiful pink flush to the cheeks, and again even looks quite sheeny as I'm looking at it there in the viewfinder, but that is definitely whatever I've got on underneath, because it is not a sheeny blush. It's definitely more of a matte blush. And do you know something as well? See, when I've just like rubbed my hand there, I feel like it's just completely disappeared from the back of my hand. There's maybe a little hint of tint there, but yeah, not raving about these blushes. Hey, so we are coming to you from Wednesday, and as you will see, I have no makeup on today. I've had a shower. Look at the shine on my hair, by the way. Used a new product, tell you about it another time. But I am just like in my pajamas, in my comfies, and we're sitting with a duvet on the couch because little man here, as I kind of mentioned yesterday, ended up so sick. I think we had to have 3 baths yesterday from the point of filming, and he was covered in vomit. He's had diarrhea a few times, and he has had that again today. No vomit today, thankfully, but he just wants lots of cuddles with his mum on the couch, so I am not putting makeup on today. So here's the thing, Thursday, which is tomorrow, we're gonna do 2 blushes tomorrow. So not to let you down, but there was no way I was gonna put blush on my face today because just have to look after this little man. That's how it is, real life, as I've said before. You don't know what it's going to throw at you, and thankfully he's just so much perkier than he was yesterday afternoon, evening and overnight. See, little smile again. You say hello? Hey, who's that? Is that you? Yes, you. So we'll see tomorrow with 2 blushes instead of 1. Not sure how I'm going to do it, whether I'm going to do like one on one side and one on the other, or whether I'm going to do one and then put it on top like I did with the Oma and the Gen C last week. So feeling much perkier now, but yeah, this morning was just wanting all the cuddles and sleep. So I will see you tomorrow with 2 blushers instead of 1 every day this week. I'm sorry. Hello, so we are back again, eventually I want to say, because as I film this it's actually Friday. I think the last time I spoke to you was Wednesday and I was like, oh, I'm not doing it today because Jack's not feeling very well. Well, lo and behold, me and Alan then decided we would come down to Lurgy and have been spewing and shitting everywhere for the last kind of 24 hours. Alan is still feeling a little rough. I feel much better, clearly. I'm up, I've washed, I've done stuff today. But it's Friday, so here's the theory. I'm going to use 2 today and 2 tomorrow and 1 on Sunday, and we'll still get through 7 blushes, but not really what I planned. Today I'm going to use from Spectrum their Pinch Pot in Uplifted, which I feel is like a kind of neutral peachy colour. I've got a little bit of, I've got kind of one and done shadow on today. This is Bodyography's Mood, one of their glitter pigments from the Chromolux collection. I think it's so beautiful because it leaves a nice sheen in the lid. Can I zoom you in? There we are, you're probably seeing it much better there. And this is in front of my window, so it is kind of natural light as well, but it's just a nice kind of sheen on the lid. Very, very pretty. Again, I probably look a little shiny, but I've used Glossier Stretch again today, and I'm going to powder after I've put my blush on. Okay, so this one here is the DERMATICA in Ballet Slippers. Now, as I said, I feel like this one's got a bit of a funny name because I definitely think it's a little bit more of a peachy, like warm brown, if I'm honest with you. Not a pink at all. It's definitely in the orange family. Whereas they have another one called Bread and Butter, and Bread and Butter is a very, very pink toned blush. Sorry, I feel like the clouds had just covered the sun there and I'd lost a lot of light. So basically that is that one there. As I've said before, I'd already used a Vision Flush. I think they're fantastic products. You can use them on your lips, which actually I'm going to use a little bit of this today on my lip because I do think it's going to go quite nicely with the eye I've got on. I am also going to blend out what is going on in my nose, by the way, because I feel like I've put too much blush on my nose, but we'll sort that in the after. And now I'm going to go in with the Spectrum one, but what I'm going to do is just kind of put this right here on the apples instead. And there we go. You can see they are super pigmented as well. I love the Spectrum Pinch Pots. I think they are fantastic. I am just going to dull that down a little bit. Hold on. I am just taking my concealer brush and kind of blending that a little bit because I do feel like that's a little bit much even for me who loves blush. And as I said, I'm going to kind of blend this area here too because I went a little ham with the concealer here. But as you can see, that brings a little bit more punch to the front of the face. Now I could have put the Danessa on the front as well, but I just, as I said, need to use 2 blushes. As you can see on the back of my hand there, this is definitely more of a peachy, this is definitely more of a warm tone. So in this area here, I think I've mentioned that before, if I'm using a blusher that's a little bit more lends itself to bronzy shades slightly, and with my colouring I think that these kind of tones work for that, then I will generally kind of meld it together with a blush. I will probably go in with my concealer brush, whatever I've used, a face brush, and just blend them all together for a little bit more of a seamless shape rather than looking like I've got 2 blushes on my face. And as I said, I am going to finish this with a little bit of powder today because I do feel I'm just a little bit too glowy. I don't know if it's because, you know, I've not been well and I've probably got a little bit of the sweats going on, but I just feel I'm a little bit too dewy in some areas. So I'm just going to go in with some glossy powder and maybe just here as well, but still keep a lot of radiance here. I don't have any highlighter on again. I don't have any foundation base on. All I used was the Glossier Stretch and my SPF and my skincare. So that's kind of all that is on my cheeks today. I'm going to finish this off with Glossier Fuzz in the Generation G lipstick because I love it. And it just kind of changes that Danessa colour from a kind of warm orangey brown to a slightly more neutral brown, like a 90s brown I suppose. Both fantastic. I love both of them. I have spoke about this one already in this video, this style of blusher. And as I've said, these can be used eyes, lips, face, armpits, doesn't really matter where the fuck you want to use them. And these here can probably be used in the exact same way. You can put this on your lips, nobody's telling you otherwise. But I do tend to use these on my cheeks a little bit more. The other one that I have of this is Joyful, which I really like as well. But I would rate both of these, think they're fantastic. And if you're a cream or liquid blush lover, I think you will really enjoy these two. Hello, so today is Saturday and I decided again I'm going to use 2 blushes. I know I normally like apply them and then come back and chat to you about them, although last weekend I didn't do that either. I'm going to show you them as I apply these on the face because I'm going to use my fingers today instead of my brushes. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is because Benefit, Benny Tint, Posy Tint, Cha Cha Tint, they've got loads of them. These are not new. This is obviously a mini one. It's probably very out of date, but it still works, so I'm okay with it. But I've obviously got a little bit of a pink eye on today. I really love my eye look today, I'm kind of into it. But I wanted to do, I don't own a cream blush that's just that out there bubblegum pink, and I kind of wanted to tie that in with the eye look today, and I felt like doing some with my fingers and melding it together might work. If not, I do that, and I'm going to be honest with you, haven't washed my stippling brushes. You can see them all back there. Like, this is my dirty pot, that's my clean pot. Not clean, and I can't be arsed doing it right now. So I have these 2 brushes on standby from LARAFAYE. I feel like they're both like soft enough and they are malleable enough, like they move enough to try and use with a cream product. So if it all goes tits up, I'll use them. But Benny Tint or Posy Tint, whatever one you may be using, was always really marketed that you kind of put it here, you know, a few little dots, la la la, and then you just tap in with the fingers, right? Now that was very obvious of me to do that. You probably won't even see anything on my skin there. But what I always found about Posy Tint and the reason I really enjoyed it, I'm just going to grab a mirror, I've just realised I haven't got one to do this. So what I always really enjoyed about the likes of Posy Tint was Benny Tint was just like a really bright red colour, and Posy Tint was just a little bit fresher, a little bit pinker. I felt as well it came out when I was probably around 20, 21, and it was just a little bit more me than a super duper rouge cheek at the time. I probably would absolutely love Benny Tint now, but it's very soft, like there's not a lot there, and I feel like this one works in the same way as Benny Tint, because Benny Tint obviously is a similar thing. It's like a watery liquid, I would say, and leaves a very much watercolour sheer effect on the face. I'm hoping you can see that there. It isn't an obvious blush, which for me, who loves a blush, you would think, why do you enjoy this then? Because normally you really like a heavy blush. But for a softer like pink effect, I actually do quite like this product. Would I repurchase it now with all the options? Oh god, by the way, my baby bangs and like regrowth from having Jack, like my postpartum hair loss regrowth, is just insane at the moment. I don't really know what's going on with it. But now I feel like there's other options out there like this. You don't need to go to Benefit. So that's kind of why I wouldn't purchase it again. It's kind of an expensive product for what it is. I think you can use other brands that are definitely more affordable that give you a similar look to this, just that kind of nice little flush of pink, like as if you're just a little bit embarrassed or something like that. I think that was the whole point in Posy Tint, to look a little bit more like a natural flush of pink to the face, whereas I feel like Benny Tint was always a little harsh for me. But that is Posy Tint on there. Now it is a beautiful sunny day in Scotland today, but because of that it does mean there's a lot of shadow on this side. I will just show you, you see what I mean. But that is it in natural light, doesn't really leave a sheen or anything. That might just be, I've just got skincare on, I don't have any base foundation on today, just some concealer and stuff. But I feel like as if it's still a very pretty pink blush. Even looking at it in the mirror now, I'm like, that's really sweet, that's nice. But the honest truth is I probably wouldn't buy this again, just because I think there are other options out there now at a cheaper rate. Now I do think that's pretty, and I could probably leave it at that, but as I said, I'm trying to get through some blushes. But also, I wanted to try this, because this palette from ELF, I have not used in Christ knows how long, and the whole point of this was trying to use products that I haven't looked at for a long time as well. So this is the cream blush palette. I looked on their website. Now this one is the soft cream blush palette, that's the colour, but there's also a bold one, and it looks to me like the only one online is the bold one now. So I don't know if you can still get this, which is a little bit annoying. It's got like this beautiful like pink colour. This I would say is that kind of rosy brown colour again, a little bit like the Oma one. Obviously a very like coral one, and then more of a peach one. They are really nice, and I think they're a really nice product. Again, I'm just going to go in with my fingers for this one, because I do want to deepen up that pink. I'm going to just take it right on the kind of high aspects there. Don't worry if you think, oh my god, what are you doing? You can absolutely use your fingers with cream products. There's no reason why you can't. Obviously nowadays, I think a lot of people get a bit like, oh, you need to use a brush, you need to do this, you need to do that, it's professional. Listen, see if you're just at home on your own, just use your fucking fingers if you want. I like to use brushes a lot of the time because for me, the application process is actually quicker. But as I say, today I haven't washed my brushes, so I don't really have time. What I am going to do is just put on a little bit of a base layer of this colour, and I am going to blush drape ever so slightly, like just bring it up to the temples a little bit to meld it in with what is going on with my eye. And then I'm going to go in with this brush here. As I said, this is the LARAFAYE F11. I was sent this one, they gave me this one in PR. And I'm just going to go in lightly and kind of buff that so that it blends in a little bit more seamlessly. As I say, lots of days I wouldn't bother with that, I would just use my fingers and be on my way. But for the purposes of this video, let's make it look a little fancy. What I would do sometimes as well is with like a pink eye like that and a pink blush is try and make it look like it's almost seeped out into the cheek. I really like doing that as well. Not today. We're actually going to a farm today, which is quite exciting. It is a Saturday, as I say. Alan is with Jack at the moment and we're both feeling a lot better. Thank you for asking. And we decided that we would probably take Jack to a farm or something because we've both all been locked in the house for a little bit this week. So decided let's go out and do something nice. That is it there. I'm hoping you can see that. I feel like the lighting today is pretty crap because, I don't know, it's weird. When it's a brighter sun, it's not as easy. I'm going to turn towards, there we go, that might be nicer. So there, that might be easier to see. So that is it there. So I put on the Benny Tint first and then I've just went in a little heavier. There we go, that is it in natural light. Again, just going to blend that there so that it's not too starkly different. Look, can you see? Can you see these little, look at this sideburn. This one is actually starting to curl. I also have like mad bits that are coming down from here at the moment. They're being held back by this clip. But mad bits that are coming down from here at the moment. And do you see this tuft of stuff here? Honest to God. There we are. So I actually think that's really quite pretty. What I'm going to say about the ELF cream blush palette is if you can still get your hands on it, absolutely go for it. What I'm going to say about the benefit as well is I just remembered when I was putting it on my hand there. Benny Tint, Posy Tint, Chatter Tint, all that kind of stuff. You need to kind of do it very quickly because it is a tint. It will stain your skin and then look, it just does not move from where it is. It's definitely more of a tint, which by the way is a little bit why using the Oma lip tints, the lip oil tints, I think works really well on your cheeks as well. I've spoken about that before. Okay, so that is where we're leaving it today. Today is Saturday. I will see you tomorrow, and I think I only need to use one blush tomorrow. Is that right? I hope I've counted that right, because if I've not, then I might only get 6 blushes this week. Anyway, I will see you all again tomorrow. Hello, so today is Sunday and thankfully it is a nice kind of bright and sunny day. So there is good natural light coming through my window. I am going to turn off my little light to the side of me. I'm kind of getting sick of saying that. I think you get the gist of it. But if you're someone new around here, you maybe don't know that this side of my room is very dark. This is it in natural light today. So what is it I've got on my face? Today I'm using the e.l.f. palette again and I am using this shade here. And I have to say, this shade, I've just kind of swatched it on the back of my hand there so you can see. I think this is a very similar tone to that of the Oma one that I used last week. Again, I'm not sure you can pick this. I'm going to go out to shops today and see if I can see this in shops still, because it's not on their website. I think I mentioned that yesterday. And it's a beautiful blush colour. It's that kind of rosy brown colour. So once it's on my face, it does have a slight kind of warm, almost pinky tone to it. But at the same time, it's not super duper pink. It's just like a dusky rose colour, and I think it is really nice. What I'm going to say, I think I'd maybe mentioned it yesterday as well, or maybe I just mentioned I'd put it on yesterday and didn't tell you about the wear time. I found that these blushes, certainly after revisiting it yesterday, wore quite well throughout the day, probably didn't last that long, but because yesterday I had put the Benny tint, or the Benny, what do you call it, Posy tint underneath, that kind of kept the pink element there once it started to die away. So what I would say is I don't think these are overly lasting, but I think they give you that beautiful kind of dewy glow that you can get from a cream blush, and I also think that they are nice and emollient, so you kind of get that nice little bit of a sheen to the tops of your cheeks. But I think because of that, they kind of go away as well. The sun's just disappeared behind a cloud now. So anyway, you could then go on and top that with a blush. I am actually sitting thinking about what blush, kind of powder blush, would go with this really nicely. And I have to say, I think it would match very nicely, or pair very nicely, with the likes of Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. I think that would work quite well. This is a gorgeous palette. I think it's a really nice little palette. If you still can get your hands on it, and it's really, really affordable, and you're maybe new to makeup as well, or you've never tried cream blush before and you want a like variation of shades, this is lovely. I really hope you can still get this. I know you can still get the bold one. Again, I think I mentioned that yesterday. But it's really, really nice. But the only thing I would say is don't expect these. These aren't like a tint. These aren't going to stay on the skin all day long. They might wear away. If you powder, then they may stay longer. But I am not overly a powder person. I might just powder around my nose and my chin. And that's about me. So that is the roundup for this week. Another 7 blushes. We are going to do the same again next week, because we are going to get through all of these. And then I did think as well I might do lip products or something. What else would you like to see me use all of, and get kind of swatches and ideas and textures of what they are like? Let me know. And I will see you all again in the next one. Bye.